Welcome to Software Pulse, building Java desktop applications. I'm John McNeil. In this video, we're going to take a look at adding a warning alert dialog box to our application. In the last video, we had added a error dialog box. So we had put in some field validation, and when you press the OK button, it does field validation, and if it fails, it popped up an error message in a dialog box. That meant you had to answer that before you could move on, and you press OK and you'd have another go at being able to correct it. What we're now going to do is we're going to add a warning dialog box so that when you press the clear button, first let me tell you what the clear button does. The clear button will clear all of the fields, so no matter what field has got information in, I'll put some information in all the fields. If you press the clear button, we want a warning dialog with this warning triangle here come up with some information in it and the option to say OK or to cancel. If you press cancel, the information stays there, and if we press OK, the information is cleared. So that's what we're looking to do in this video. Let's switch to our Eclipse IDE, which is my IDE of preference, and I've already got an alert demo project with my class with my main method in, and I've got a connection overview controller class, and that controls my FX user interface. And the way it works is, if you recall, there are two buttons, an OK button and a clear button. I don't know why I put that over there. Let me put it over here. As you can see, there are two buttons on this interface, an OK button and a clear button, and we've got a private method called handle clear and a private method handle go. And if we take a look at the handle go, it has an if condition that makes a call to this another private method called isValidInput, and that method is where we check the fields to see whether they were valid, and then if they weren't valid, we popped up the alert dialog box. We have a similar thing with the handle clear method, where if you press the button, the handle clear method is called and it simply clears all the field values. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put an if condition in here and say then is clear, call the is clear method, and depending on what comes back, if we get true back, then we will clear all the fields. And if we don't get clear back, then we'll just drop out and continue running the code in the application. So I'm going to create the isClear private method. So all I've done is I've just pasted in the code for the private method. To speed things up. So we've got a Boolean value called clear, and this is the value we are going to return, the method is going to return when it gets to the end. And we initially set it to false, to say don't clear it. Then we create an alert. Then we're going to create an alert box with this new alert command here. And then we're going to say we want an alert type of warning. So we're going to call the we're going to pass the static value warning from the alert type class. Then, if I just bring this back up, I'll leave that over there, but I will move the dialog box there. So then we call a set content text. This is the content of the warning, so that we can put anything in there, but that's just showing you the method, the text for that bit goes there. Then we've got the title, clear all fields, which goes at the top here on the title bar, and then we've got the set header text. Are you sure you want to clear all the fields, which goes alongside the warning triangle, and the warning triangle is by default. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shut this down, close down this application here, and I'm going to comment out the next bits, because the next bits is for adding the extra button on. So I'm just going to put that in and add the button type for scene control. I hadn't planned to do this, so I'm hoping it's all going to work. So if I run this now, okay, there's my application. If I press OK, I get my warning. If I press clear, I get the same dialog box, but you notice by default you only get an OK button, and when I press that, it will clear the fields. There is no way of saying, oh, hang on, don't do that, I've changed my mind. So, coming back to our code, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new button type, and we're going to call it a cancel button type, and we're going to give it a label on the button called cancel, and we're going to say it's a particular type of button data, which is cancel close. So you've got cancel close there. You've got the help button. There are various buttons, OK, OK done, yes. I'm guessing there's a no in there somewhere. Yeah, so there's some standard buttons you can pick from, and we're going to pick the cancel close button. Now the reason why we're actually picking this is, I'll get back to in a second. And then what we've got to do is add that button into our alert dialog box. So we've got our alert dialog box there, and we're going to get the dialog pane for that alert dialog box, which will then allow us to get all the buttons, and then we can simply add on, which is a list of all the buttons, and then we can add to the list our new button. And then we come down to this line here where we do the show and wait, which says pop-up dialog box, make it modal, which means stop them being able to go on and do anything else until that dialog box is closed. And we're going to get a result back, and the result we're going to get back is an optional result of type button type. Because now we've got two buttons, we actually need to understand which one of the buttons was pressed, or in our particular case we're only trying to understand that the button type OK was pressed. Okay, so we look at the get results get and see whether what we got, the type we got, was an OK button. If we didn't get an OK button, then the OK button wasn't pressed. But there is one other thing that can happen. Let me just say OK to that and run this. Move that over to there. When I press the button, I've got my two buttons here. If I press one of these two buttons, I will close the dialog box such that I will get a optional button type result back. But if I just press the cross, I won't. So this bit of code here, the result is present, is saying, did we get a result? Okay. Was one of the buttons on the dialog box pressed? If one of the dialog buttons wasn't pressed, we pressed the big cross on the top, then we couldn't have pressed the OK button, so therefore return clear, which is by default set to false. So only if the OK button is pressed will we get true back. And now just to come back and show that we've got what we want. So we've still got our validation there. We press our clear button, press cancel, it doesn't clear any fields. We press OK, it does clear the fields, and we've still got our validation. So there's an example of using the warning dialog box to warn somebody about something, but give them the answer, the option to actually back out of the decision by adding an extra button. Those of you who've got a little more knowledge about alert types will know that there is an alert type, I believe it's called confirmation, which, as it would suggest, would allow you to go do the agree or disagree with the option. And we could have, instead of using a warning type, we could have used a confirmation dialog box. And perhaps in the next video we'll take a look at that and see that in action. But for now, I wanted to I wanted to actually use a warning dialog box with the warning triangle, because I'm trying to warn them that it will clear the field, and that's why I've gone about doing it in this way. So, hope you've enjoyed that example of using a warning alert dialog box. If you have, then pop over to my website, maybe subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll be notified about new events as and when they come along. But for now, thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you later.